Why everything changes after $20,000. You know that moment when you open your bank app and your body doesn't tense up? No instinctive panic. No urge to immediately close it. No mental math trying to predict whether you'll survive until the next paycheck. For the first time, the number on the screen doesn't feel threatening. That moment doesn't happen at $1 million. It doesn't happen at 6 figures. And it definitely doesn't happen when you start earning more. It happens much earlier. There is a very specific point where your relationship with money fundamentally changes, and almost nobody talks about it. That point is $20,000. Now, let's be clear right away. $20,000 does not make you rich. It doesn't buy freedom. It doesn't unlock luxury. But it does unlock something far more important. It changes how you think, decide, and move through life. Most people have the wrong mental model of wealth. They imagine wealth as a straight line. Save a little, earn a little, slowly climb upward. But wealth doesn't grow in a straight line. It grows in thresholds. Invisible levels where, once you cross them, the rules quietly change. And $20,000 is the first real threshold that matters. Below it, life feels reactive. Above it, life starts to feel intentional. Think about how money feels when you don't have it. Every decision is heavy. Every purchase carries emotional weight. Every unexpected expense feels like an emergency. Your car makes a noise, instant stress. Your rent goes up, panic. Your laptop dies, disaster. This isn't because you're bad with money. It's because your brain is operating in survival mode. In survival mode, your mind is not designed to think long-term. It's designed to eliminate immediate threats. So you take the first job offer even if it's terrible. You stay in environments you hate because leaving feels dangerous. You say yes to things you don't want because saying no feels risky. You're not planning. You're reacting. And reaction is the enemy of wealth. This is why telling someone who's broke to invest often doesn't work. Their brain is busy putting out fires. You can't design a future when your mental energy is spent surviving the present. It's like trying to plan a vacation while your house is on fire. Now here's where things quietly shift. When you cross roughly $20,000 in savings or investments, usually around 3 to 6 months of living expenses, something changes internally. You gain margin. Margin is invisible, but it's powerful. It's the space between a problem and panic. And once you have it, your thoughts slow down. Instead of asking, "How do I survive this month?" you start asking, "How do I improve this year?" That question alone changes everything. The interesting part is that this shift isn't just emotional, it's measurable. Studies consistently show that even small emergency savings dramatically improve financial well-being. Just $2,000 in reserves can reduce financial stress significantly. Now imagine multiplying that buffer. By the time you reach $20,000, your brain stops screaming. It starts thinking. Now let's talk about the math, but simply. Say you're saving and investing consistently. The first $20,000 feels brutal. It might take a year and a half or more of discipline, saying no, tracking spending, and resisting impulses. And this is where most people quit. They look at the slow progress and assume it will always feel this hard. But that's the mistake. Because the first $20,000 is the hardest money you will ever make. After that, something subtle but powerful happens. Your money starts helping you. Your second $20,000 arrives faster. Not because you worked harder. Not because you suddenly became smarter. But because now your money is working alongside you. Compound interest finally becomes visible. The effort stays the same. The results don't. And with every milestone, the acceleration increases. At higher levels, the growth almost feels unfair. What once took years begins happening in months. This is not magic. The scale. But here's the part most people miss. The real transformation of $20,000 isn't mathematical. It's identity-based. To save that amount from zero, you had to change how you behave. You learned to delay gratification. You learned to prioritize long-term outcomes. You learned to say no to short-term pleasure. And most importantly, you proved something to yourself, that you are capable of control. That identity shift is priceless. Once you see yourself as someone who can accumulate capital, future decisions become easier. You're no longer guessing. You already know what you're capable of. There's another unexpected change that happens around this point. You stop obsessing over small expenses. When you're broke, every dollar feels massive. Coffee feels like a moral dilemma. Groceries feel like strategy. Tiny purchases consume mental energy. But once you build a base, you realize something liberating. Small expenses don't matter nearly as much as big decisions. The real drivers of wealth are housing, income trajectory, investment consistency, lifestyle inflation, not whether you bought generic cereal. This shift frees mental bandwidth. You stop micromanaging pennies and start optimizing strategy. And now we reach one of the most powerful effects of hitting $20,000. Your relationship with work changes. When you live paycheck to paycheck, you are trapped, even if you don't realize it. You can't negotiate. You can't push back. You can't take risks. Your job owns you. But when you have savings, you gain what I call walkaway power. You don't need to quit, but you could. And that possibility changes how you show up. You become more confident, more selective, more willing to say no. Ironically, this often leads to better opportunities, better assignments, and higher pay without ever using the money. Power changes behavior. Behavior changes outcomes. Now, here's where most people destroy this progress. They hit $20,000 and immediately spend it. New car, luxury vacation, lifestyle upgrade. They treat it like a reward. But $20,000 is not a reward. It's a foundation. Spend it and you reset the game. Protect it and it compounds. Let's talk about cars because this is where the damage usually happens. Over a lifetime, most people will spend hundreds of thousands just to move from point A to point B. Payments, insurance, repairs, fuel. And the moment a new car leaves the lot, it loses value. You're not just spending money, you're actively destroying it. Now compare that to investing the same capital. One path erodes wealth, the other multiplies it. And here's the irony. The person driving the flashy car often feels rich. The person driving the old, reliable one quietly becomes rich. Once you cross $20,000, you start thinking in opportunity cost. Not monthly payments. Not can I afford it? But what does this cost my future? That perspective changes everything. A purchase isn't just money spent, it's growth delayed. And once you understand that, many desires lose their grip. Not because you're cheap, but because you're intentional. This mindset spreads into every area of life. Housing, education, travel, hobbies. You stop asking, what looks successful? And start asking, what actually builds freedom? And here's the surprising part. Once you think this way, you often realize you don't even want half the things you used to chase. Not because they're bad, but because they're not worth the trade. $20,000 will not make you wealthy, but it will change your trajectory. It's the line between reacting and designing, between fear and leverage, between surviving and building. And once you cross it, the game no longer feels impossible. It starts feeling winnable.